Come on. All right, now we're on there.
Yay, it worked.
Yeah, before I was clicking it would just give me a little blue thing that says, sorry, not working.
Yeah, it was probably in the cached version or something. All good.
Just Google putting customer satisfaction job number 1.
It was mad that we said good day internet and then didn't use the internet until now. Good day internet.
Good day. We should have.
We're gonna talk to a man who breeds corgis. A recipe for casserole. Good day.
Szechuan styled grits.
Good day, Tucson.
Good day, internet.
Good day. All right. Well, we got a couple minutes before we have to start the show. Anybody need to stretch?
Yeah. Now, is this the post-pre-show?
This is the end of the pre-show right now. Then we go into the Daily Tech News show. And then once that's over, we'll be in the post-show. That's it.
Got it.
Okay. This is the live streamed part of the pre-show.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
But technically also recorded, right?
Yeah, all of it's being
it's recorded.
Yeah.
All being recorded.
We just try to keep it simple.
Oh, goodness.
All right. Well, everybody's ready. We can go ahead and get going.
Let's do it.
All right.
I'm going to put my glasses on even.
Well, look at you. All right.
How about that?
How about them apples?
Librarian-esque.
Here we go. In 3, 2.
Only you can keep the Daily Tech News Show independent. To find out more, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, April 25th, 2018. From our headquarters in Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
And joining us today from Comedy Film Nerds, very happy to have Chris Mancini back on the show.
Great to be back.
Thank you.
Lots to talk about.
Yeah, no, we've got some film stuff to talk about. We got some TV tech to talk about. Our producer Roger Chang deserves the thanks for bringing us all together here.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I could be here. It's really loud, so if I sound like I'm old and hard of hearing, it's because there's a guy hammering above me.
Yeah, we can't hear the hammering, but Roger can. Trust us.
I can hear it, Tom.
Can you?
But I thought that Roger was just like, enthusiastically stomping his feet. So,
well, because he does.
Just think of it that way. Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to tell, which is Let's start with a few tech things you should know.
Amazon has introduced the Echo Dot Kids edition that adds a parental control dashboard and different colored cases. Among the features are a 1-year subscription to the free time unlimited bundle of kids audiobooks, apps, and shows, child-friendly answers to questions, and an explicit lyrics filter. It's available for pre-order now for $79.
Facebook reported its revenue is $11.97 billion for last quarter. Earnings per share were $1.69, so it made money and it beat analyst estimates. But did they have the same amount of people using Facebook with all the controversy? Yes. In fact, they had more. Daily active users grew 3.57%, which is faster than last quarter. And monthly active users grew 3.28%, which is actually a little slower than last month. So the people who are using it every month already used it more, probably to check their privacy settings.
In the realm of Microsoft, the company's next edition of Windows 10, codenamed Redstone 5, will offer a lean edition for devices with limited storage. Microsoft will remove unnecessary components like regedit, excuse you, I used to like regedit, and Internet Explorer that are not usually used on cheap laptops and tablets.
Yeah, when's the last time
isn't Internet Explorer not used on any laptops?
Unless you're in a business, right? There are businesses. In fact, Internet Explorer has higher adoption on Windows 10 than Edge, the default browser, because all these businesses still use it, and then they make all their employees use it.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's the only way people are using it, is they're forced to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about Gmail. There's a new Gmail coming. If you haven't got it already, Google's launching it starting Wednesday, although it's rolling out slowly, so you may not see it yet. Among the new features are message-specific two-factor authentication, Self-deleting messages. In other words, they're never actually delivered. You just pull them off a server and then you can delete them off the server. The ability to revoke sent messages, the ability to restrict forwarding, copying, or downloading. You can also hover over an email in your list to take actions without having to open the message. That includes snoozing it so that it just goes away for a period of time. Gmail will also resurface emails it thinks have a time-sensitive nature that you might need to see again. There's also a visual redesign. They're adding tasks, notes, and calendar to the sidebar. And the web version of Gmail now has an offline mode. So if you're on an airplane, you don't want to pay for the internet, you can still read your
That's
email.
helpful.
Yeah, the changes are going to roll out slowly. Users will be asked if you want to change. You won't be forced to change right now. And Google's also launching a standalone app called Google Tasks. So that tasks that goes in the sidebar, you'll also be able to use as an app on its own.
Chris, would you ever snooze an email message knowing it's there, but wanting to not see it, knowing that it will come back later?
No, I wouldn't use that. However, the one I would use is the one where you can take back an email you sent, because we all write those emails that we're like, oh, well, I'll never send this. And then, oh, I accidentally sent it. So
that was already a feature within Gmail, as long as you decided that within, I think it was like 5 minutes or something.
There was a Gmail Labs feature you could turn on. Yeah. And it was also available in Google's inbox program as well.
So I think that's a good feature. So what are they doing? Making it more robust in the rollout?
They're making it available for everybody, so you didn't have to know to go turn it on. You'll just have the ability to do it.
Right.
I think Google knows that, the majority of people, everyone I know, has a Gmail account, right? But it's email.
Self-deleting messages like Mission Impossible. That's kind of cool.
It'll explode within. But at the same time, it's there's a little bit of a it's a little long in the tooth as far as email goes. What I still love about Gmail is the idea that, like, if something doesn't apply to me anymore, I just archive it rather than like worry about deleting it, because that's what Gmail changed for me many years ago. But there are a lot of apps that do a lot of the stuff that I think that Google is now trying to add into Gmail, so that whether or not you use a third-party app, it is more than just an email service. It's something that syncs to your calendar. It sends stuff to your tasks, particularly for Android users. So
I like the two-factor authentication option as well, because the way that works is you put in, when you send the email, the phone number of the person you're sending it to, and then when they want to open it, they have to request a code be sent to them by text message. Granted, not the most secure way to do two-factor, but it's better than nothing. And then only the person who has that phone number will be able to open that message.
So that's like an extra way to secure a specific message.
Exactly. So when you send that picture intentionally, you can make sure only the person you wanted to see it gets it.
Moving on to Snapchat, which announced Snappables today. That's AR games that use either your touch, your motion, or your facial expressions to compete for high scores in a multiplayer scenario with other Snap users, friends or otherwise. Snappables, along with other Snapchat lenses, are rolling out globally this week, with new games set to be released in the weeks to come. Here are some examples if you're like, what's a Snappable? An asteroid-style space shooter, or a bubblegum popping contest, or a weightlifting thing that you play by straining your forehead. Botox users need not apply. A kiss-blowing game, egg-catching competition, dance party, fun stuff.
Did y'all look at the video of the demonstration of this?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I was dying to use it anyway, but as soon as I watched the video, I was like, oh, I'm definitely never doing that.
Yeah.
Like they're showing people on buses and trains.
Because you're over 13, that's why.
True. Thanks for outing me, but
I think this is the kind of thing that literally, like I have a 13-year-old, I think she's gonna love it. Yeah,
I could see that. And
we were just talking about Snapchat with Lamar Wilson yesterday, right? And the idea of seeing Snap commercials on network television, and like, what are they going for here? This is not the older demo that they're going for. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. The lens stuff was stupid, but still fun to play around with. My wife had endless fun with the lenses on Snapchat for the longest time. She does Instagram stories now because she's over 13, I guess.
She knows where her audience is.
Yeah. But these things look dumber sometimes, and then secretly they can be fun, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with this.
No, nothing wrong.
It's okay. Yeah. Do you want to use it? I don't. But,
I think it's another. I think it's another great example of like companies like Snapchat. They realize we have to remain relevant. We have to keep innovating, and we're not necessarily sure which direction to go. Let's try games.
Yeah,
and it's that kind of thing. It's either going to work or it isn't, and then they'll try something else if it doesn't.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, they use those developers to make something else to try.
Right.
The 43-inch Philips Momentum 4K display, the model number is actually 436M6, is the first display to get HDR 1000 certification. That's the highest level of HDR certification. That means it's guaranteed to deliver 1,000 candelas per square meter of brightness, which in layman's terms is about 2 to 4 times as bright as most current displays. It also needs to support a 955:1 contrast ratio, so nice deep blacks, 10 bits per color of image processing, and cinema quality color gamuts. So this is a very good looking monitor. They also have a feature called Multi-View that'll let you simultaneously watch your PC screen and a set-top box like a Roku, which seems odd in practice. Like, well, I could watch Netflix on the PC, I guess, but maybe I want to keep the cycles for some high level video editing or something. Anyway, the thing costs $1,000 arriving this summer. And I know some people who are very excited about it because this is the way they watch television and movies is on their computer monitor, and they want a really good 4K monitor for that. Chris, I'm curious how you watch movies at home.
I watch movies. I have a 65-inch TV, but it's interesting. Before that, we had a plasma monitor that was a professional grade that we ordered from Panasonic, and we had it for years and years and years. We literally just got rid of our plasma like about a year ago. That means we got rid of our plasma monitor years after they stopped making them.
Yeah.
So they. But it was a monitor because I have a surround sound set up. I have a receiver, and for anything streaming, we would just go through the PlayStation, like Netflix and those things. But with the new smart TVs, I like being able to just go to Netflix and YouTube and Amazon through the TV and not have to boot up the PlayStation for it. So it's a double-edged sword. Like when you have a monitor, like I don't need speakers, and I'd rather all the money be going into the display, but I like the convenience of it being a smart TV and having the apps built in. So I think it's you gain some, you lose some on like if they made a monitor that was smart, that had apps, that didn't have speakers, that would be the one thing I would definitely want. That doesn't exist.
But you could do that yourself by buying one of those $30 dongles from Roku or Amazon that have all those apps, same apps, and then
right.
just plug
You
it
could
in
do it that way, but then I got to buy a dongle.
Yeah, right. It's not all in one.
Don't want to break the bank, Tom.
Yeah. So, and I have the but it's definitely easier using the smart TV than booting up the PlayStation to get everything now.
Yeah, for sure.
You're one of the only people who's like, the smart TV apps are great.
Yeah.
Keeps me from having to use a set-top box, where the rest of us are like, smart TV apps, eh.
Yeah. Well, I only use 3, so I don't know how the other ones are.
No,
and you said you got a newer TV, so
yes.
the newer smart TVs have gotten better. Which one do you have?
Yeah.
I have an LG.
Oh, yeah. All right. That is actually the Palm operating system. Just oddly enough, much updated.
Sources tell Droid Life that the rumored YouTube Remix music service will replace Google Play Music when it launches later this year. Google Play Music is already part of YouTube Red and includes YouTube music videos. Google Play Music also allows users to store MP3s in an online locker. No word yet on whether or not the feature will survive. YouTube did tell Droid Life, quote, "We'll provide plenty of notice before any changes are made." And remember, Google I.O. starts on May 8th, so we're probably going to find out more then.
Man, this is definitely one of those days where I get to be the guy who is mad that all the people who use the popular services don't understand. Because I guarantee every person who wrote a story about this today uses Apple Music or Spotify, because they all made it sound like Google Play Music is going to get replaced by videos. And the fact is, Google Play Music is already part of YouTube Red. So if you pay for any YouTube service, you get it. It already has videos included. A bunch of the other things that the Droid Life story said were about customized playlists. Those are already in Google Play Music. What it sounds like to me might happen is they're going to take Google Play Music, they're going to integrate it a little more into YouTube and rename it. Which
that was a long time coming, right?
As a Google Play Music user, that would be great, as long as they don't take away my locker service, because that is the killer feature for me, is I can take all those weird nerdy MP3s from independent artists that aren't in any service and mix them in with all the rest of the stuff that is in the service.
Now, can you can't do that with Spotify?
No, there are workarounds, but it's not like Google Play Music where you just upload it and it's there, right? You have to do a bunch of work to make that happen there. And Amazon used to be one that would let you do it, but they just took that feature away.
Oh.
So,
well, it's smart because it's offering a feature that no one else has. Sometimes they bank on that. And
I hope they realize that that is a cool thing to keep doing when you rename this service to YouTube.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be gone, isn't it? I'm totally The European Emergency Number Association announced a partnership with Corti, C-O-R-T-I, to provide real-time AI support for emergency dispatchers in detecting cardiac arrest. So in other words, if somebody calls the emergency service, they're able to help diagnose them over the phone, whether they're having a heart attack or not. In a trial run in Copenhagen, Corti-assisted calls recognized 95.3% of cardiac arrest calls, while humans recognized 73.9%. And the faster you recognize it, the better chance you are saving someone's life. Corti uses speech recognition to analyze patterns of communication. So it pays attention to the tone of voice, the breathing patterns, if there are breathing difficulties, among several other signs, and then delivers recommendations to the human dispatcher. It's not AI talking to someone. It's just giving information so the dispatcher can make a better decision. And the EENA is going to start implementing Corti in 4 European countries yet to be determined by June.
What wouldn't the first thing, if you called an emergency service, be to say, I'm having a heart attack?
Well,
and then the mystery would be gone.
If you know, but people sometimes are like, I'm having trouble breathing. And it's like, well, is it an anxiety attack? Is it something else? Yeah. Some other sickness, some other illness. And that's where this becomes helpful, is to say, okay, is the person actually having a heart attack? Sometimes people think they're having a heart attack and they're not too.
Right. So it analyzes all those things, this AI. Interesting.
The AI conversation is we have a long way to go when it comes to how AI can catch up to humans in some regards when it comes to this sort of thing. I don't know anybody who'd be like, no, I prefer my doctor, who might get it wrong more often than the robot version. It's like, this is actually a great use of AI.
Because you still have the human in the equation, right? Exactly. The human dispatcher is still making the call.
For
the
now.
AI is just giving them more information. Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
Well,
Robot 911, what's your emergency?
It just slowly edges the dispatcher out of its seat.
Yeah. It's we need room for the mainframe.
Yeah. Hey, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to Daily Tech Headlines, available on the Amazon Echo, Google Home, the Anchor app, and of course at dailytechheadlines.com. CinemaCon's going on in Las Vegas right now, and the National Association of Theater Owners President John Fithian has been on stage making veiled statements about all the tech companies that want to erode his business model, saying things like the movie industry is not a zero-sum game, and the idea that younger adults aren't passionate moviegoers is a myth. Now, Hollywood Reporter has a great article where it goes into some interviews with MoviePass executives at CinemaCon, as well as MoviePass is kind of one of the big tech company threats to theater owners. But before we discuss MoviePass, I just wanted to ask you, Chris, if, for instance, tomorrow every movie was available at home, day and date, would you still go to the theater?
You know what? And we've actually had this discussion on the Comedy Film Nerds podcast, is I would go see the movies that were meant to be on the screen, and like Avengers, Infinity War, something that looks great in 3D, like all of the event movies. I would definitely go see it, and I would also go one further and say, well, so if I could get a Dolby Atmos theater that has the speakers on the ceiling and all the extra surround sound speakers, but for a smaller film, I would definitely just see that at home. So I would split it. Like it's not like I would never go again, but I would go for the big epic event movies. I would go, but then the smaller kind of talky dramas, I would say, well, I can see this at home.
And I think that's already happening for some people who I can wait the 30 to 90 days for that to show up at home. I don't need to go.
Right.
Sarah, I'm curious about you. What would you do the same thing?
Well, I already had this conversation with a lot of my friends. Somebody will say like, great movie, but you know what? Audio, like you don't really need to, THX stuff. Just wait for it to come to, your home movie experience. I'm not a regular theater goer. I enjoy going to the theater. I think that it is a unparalleled experience that is different than watching anything on my couch. I don't care what the movie is, whether it, is some, surround sound thing or not. But I don't go that often. But when I do go, it is different. It is an escape. I'm going to this thing that I'm doing. I'm getting popcorn. I'm with strangers around me and we're laughing and we're crying and we're doing whatever. So that experience, I can't match that at home. I can't. I never have been able to, and I still respect that.
So
it's an outing. Like you go out. Like a lot of times when we go out, we don't just go to the movies. We go out to dinner, or it's date night.
Date night. Yeah.
It's date night, or we take the kids and then we go see something, and then we go out to dinner afterwards. So it's more of an outing that's an event. So that component, I think, will never go away, because no matter how great the surround sound or how big the TV is, or 1000K or whatever the new TV that just came out, it doesn't match that whole feeling of going out to to see a movie and then going on afterwards, talking about it at dinner. It's just a different experience.
Yeah. And I know some people will disagree with me, but for example, I saw The Last Jedi, which, I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm going to go see that in the theater. That's what I'm going to do. I know that if I watch it, on my couch at home with my
if only it was
hand,
promoted better.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if only I knew it was happening before. I just sort of wandered into the theater and it was playing. But that sort of thing is like that. It's not even about the audio to me. It's not about the technology. It's about the people around me, and people are excited and woohooing and clapping, and like that. You just can't get that at home.
It's a community experience. Yeah.
What we're saying does not contradict what John Fithian was saying, which is, hey, younger adults are passionate moviegoers, but they're passionate for these reasons, right? They like the event. They like the sound effects, the technology, a combination of all of those things. The advantage theaters have is that idea that you can get something here that you can't get at home, because it's either bigger or it's better or it's just community, and you can't replicate that. But what theaters are known for doing is cracking down on the release time and the release period and saying, well, we need to force people to have to come here to see it or they won't see it. Now, MoviePass, I think, is brilliant, because what it's identified is what stops people from going to the movies is cost or ease. And they're trying to make that easy and say, look, for $9.95 a month, you can see a movie a day. Don't have to think about it anymore. You're just paying every month. It's taken out. You don't have to think about it. Go see things whenever you want. And their stats have shown that their users tend to go to weekday movies, daytime movies, way more than the general populace, because they don't have to worry about, well, is it worth my time? What if I have to leave early? Or what if I don't like the movie? Because they're not figuring that cost into it. The question is,
they also might be seeing movies that they don't really care about, because they're like, well,
because why not? Let's take a flyer on it.
I'll take a chance on this movie because it's not costing me anymore.
Right.
And the question is, can they make enough money? Now, MoviePass says it makes a profit on 88% of its subscribers, because most people don't see more than one movie a month, even though they can.
I'm skeptical of that number.
It sounds high, doesn't it?
Yes. Especially because the whole reason that you would get MoviePass on a monthly basis is to see more than one movie a month.
And they have 2 million subscribers as of February. I can't imagine that 1.8 million of them fail to see a second movie in a month. But the other way they want to make money is selling analytics to studios and providing kickbacks to theater, or getting kickbacks to theaters for promotion, saying, hey, we'll tell people to go to your theater at the top of the app, so they're more likely to go there, and deals with restaurants, which ties into what you're saying, Chris, like making an evening of it. If you've got MoviePass and it's like, hey, we'll give you 20% off at the restaurant around the corner, then they can make money that way. The question is, as fast as MoviePass is growing, as great of a deal as it is, as much as they say like, no, we're going to be making money by 2019, don't worry about it. Do you think they really can survive?
Honestly, I'm skeptical, and the reason is the business model, because ultimately it's all about how many movies you're going to consume, and the whole idea and the whole lure of MoviePass is that you pay a low fee to see as many movies as you want. But MoviePass loses money every time you go see a movie. So it's a question of, are they going to raise the price? Are they going to limit the amount of movies you can see? Can they make these deals with studios? The other thing that is a barrier to entry is not all movie theaters participate in it. Like a good example is ArcLight. I see all my movies at the ArcLight, and because it's closest and it has the best selection of movies, MoviePass, they're not accepted there. So you have a couple barriers still to this. I really think that you're going to see their business model change as we progress within the next 6 months to a year, whether that means raising prices, limiting it, or opening it up to more theaters. Like maybe there'll be like a premium account where you pay a little bit more and you can use these theaters like ArcLight, or the new theaters that offer food that are more expensive. So basically, because you have a theater system that's tiered, you have cheaper movie theaters and then you have more expensive ones. So, how is MoviePass going to navigate that? That'll be an interesting thing to see that they do. So as of right now, I think it's not a sustainable business model, but I think there's things that they can do to make it that way.
And right now, you can't get the $9.95 a month all you can eat. You can only get a deal that's one movie a week and includes iHeartRadio for free. So they've already started to mess with the formula.
So it's like cable TV internet bundles where you're like, but I don't want TV, but it's somehow cheaper. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, well, I want MoviePass. I don't need iHeartRadio with it. No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm
so
sure
just let me see another movie instead.
my guess is they'll bring back the all you can eat, but it'll be $15, not $10.
Right.
And the reason because they don't need theaters' permission to include them, because it's just an authorized credit card. I'm guessing they're negotiating with ArcLight right now, and they're saying, "Hey, look at all these people we're sending to Landmark. You want in on that? We'll include you." It's that's how they operate. It's all about negotiations.
Yeah. So there's I'm sure there's some backdoor wheelings and dealings that are going on right now because as much of a money, and they call it the war chest that this company has, if they don't start turning a profit, that's going to dwindle.
Yeah. And the last thing to note is Helios and Matheson is an analytics company. They own a bunch of things you've never heard of that do high level analytics for companies. And they are buying more and more to the point that they own more than 90% of MoviePass now. So my guess is they see something in the money making aspect of the analytics that maybe MoviePass can even be a loss leader for them. Right. And feed some of their other businesses.
So that sounds great because that'll really protect moviegoers' privacy too. So.
Yeah. I'd like to hear more about that, especially after Mitch Lowe talked about tracking you on your way to the restaurant.
Right.
He later retracted. He later said, "No, that's not what I meant." But
where you go after the movie.
Yeah.
That's a real attractive component of the business model.
It doesn't fly very well these days.
Yeah.
Apparently. Hey, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com and in our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow. What do we have in the mailbag, Sarah?
Well, someone who calls themselves La Cheesery and says that's for Justin Robert Young. So I don't know, inside joke there. Says, I'm in my mid-50s, worked in the IT field until about 10 years ago. I started having vision problems. I'm now legally blind. The first few years were very trying. After some time, a little bit of my vision returned, though, and I was able to acquire some adaptive software for my PC. DTNS was one of the most helpful resources I found to help me get caught up in the world of technology. Yay! I was still using Windows XP at the time, so, puts a little bit in perspective. I was able to get back up to speed on everything while I was on the sidelines, and now I stay on top of what is happening with DTNS doing the heavy lifting. Very grateful for that. However, I'm a client of an agency that works with low vision and blind people in my area. Other clients, all ages, all socioeconomic backgrounds, and I've noticed that quite a few of them have problems with accessibility, devices, and software. I wanted to create a user group or information source to help my fellow clients, but I've never really done anything like this before. Looking for some direction. Do you have an idea? I probably don't need to reinvent the wheel. Could anyone point me to a resource that would help me make this dream possible?
Oh, that's great. So email us feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com and we'll pass this along to La Cheesery.
Sounds great.
Yeah. To create a user group.
I want to go to a store called La Cheesery. But yeah, no, thank you so much for the email. I found it very heartwarming, and I'm glad that DTNS has been a resource to you all this time.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And to tie that into movie watching, we actually just had a blind comedian on Comedy Film Nerds, and she talked about how much she loved movies. And she would go in and get basically headphones when she goes to a movie that actually describes the action on the screen.
Wow.
And so there's actually accessibility options now for visually impaired people at the movie theaters.
That's very cool.
That's so cool.
Netflix provides that for some of their shows. I know Daredevil particularly, they provide that for. So that's really cool. So yeah, if you know some good sources to create a user group or an information source for accessibility, especially for sight impairment, let us know. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Also, Sumyadip, our person on the ground in India, sent us a link to telegraphindia.com story about how 9 candidates for the West Bengal Panchayat elections, this is the lowest rung in India's multi-tiered democracy, have won the right to submit their nominations through WhatsApp because of the risk of bodily harm to handing them in person. Apparently, rival parties were threatening to beat them up if they went to the courthouse to hand in their papers. They submitted them through WhatsApp. The rival parties then said, well, that's not a legitimate way to submit them. And they went to court and said, it's the only way we can submit them safely. And the judge said, yeah, you're right. Fine. WhatsApp's good enough. You can submit them through WhatsApp.
Wow.
That's a great example of how technology can help democracy.
Yeah.
I'll say.
No kidding. And Sunyadeep says West Bengal is a state in eastern India governed by the Trinamool Congress, which is fighting a bitter and bloody electoral battle against the Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP, which is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's party. So big politics going on there. And who knew? WhatsApp going to help.
Well, thanks to everybody who submitted feedback to us. And also thanks to Chris Mancini for being on the show. Tell everybody where they can keep up with all of your work online.
Oh, great to be here. And thanks again. You can check me out at comedyfilmnerds.com and subscribe to the Comedy Film Nerds podcast. And I also produced and wrote the documentary Earbuds, the podcasting documentary that is out now on demand on iTunes and Amazon Prime. So you can check that out. And it's all about the personal connection that exists between podcasters and fans that doesn't exist in any other medium. So check that out. It got distribution, so it's everywhere. And we're trying to spread the word on it.
And as a Kickstarter backer of that project, I can say I'm proud to have supported it. It's a great effort. I highly recommend people take a look.
Great. Yeah. Thanks, Tom. That was the great thing, too, is it not only the fans supported it, but a lot of podcasters did, too. And we were able to make it happen.
And by all means, check out Comedy Film Nerds. They had a really good episode about Ready Player One recently, despite their guest. A real downer.
Yep. Tom Merritt, guest, had some great insights on Ready Player One. So check out that episode.
That's at comedyfilmnerds.com. And thanks to everybody who supports our show. We have 9 more patrons right now than we did last month. We want to get more. And the more we get, the more likely it is I'll go take a video of a tarantula crawling on my arm or something. We'll do something crazy. So patreon.com/DTN.
You laugh, Chris. He's not kidding.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, whatever works. It's
exactly. Yeah, we'll do
whatever
it.
the patrons demand.
Exactly. Yeah, we work for you. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. If you have feedback for us, let us know. We're also live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC, and you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
Back tomorrow with Justin Robert Young. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
That was a great show.
That was a wonderful show.
Thank you, Chris.
Fun.
Super fun to have you, Chris.
Thanks. This was great. Now we're in the post show, right?
Now we're
We
back to
are.
Good Day Internet.
Good day,
day.
Internet.
Mm-hmm.
How's your day?
Ah,
Remember
good
that Seinfeld episode where she says, "How's your life?" And George is like, not bad at all."
Show about
Nope.
nothing.
Nobody remembers that. I always
I-
remember that though.
I never really liked that show.
Oh,
God,
sacrilege.
I know, but my wife loves it. It's like, Am I supposed to like it out of some sort of marital obligation?
I actually think it's not weird to say, just wasn't my show. I have a friend who's like, "Oh, I've never watched it." That's weird to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I mean,
I've seen the show, and let's just say it's not my cup of tea.
No, but that's what Sarah's saying is that's fine.
There's
nothing-
you have a
nothing
right
wrong
to
with that.
like or not like, Seinfeld. It's a certain kind of humor. For someone to just be like, "Oh, I've never seen it," I'm like, that's so weird.
It's
That's weird.
the same reason why It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia never really gelled with me.
See, I've never seen that show.
Mm.
And my wife loves that show. It's just that
Wait,
to
hold
me-
on. You said the reason you don't like Seinfeld is the same reason you don't like It's Always
No,
Sunny in
similar.
Philadelphia?
There's a similar reason why I don't like Sunny,
Which is
which is I don't like any of the characters. To me, they're irredeemable, and they're just not.
There's nobody that you root for.
you're not comparing the shows. You're just saying.
No,
you don't
no,
like
no,
it.
no, no, no. I'm just saying.
Well,
It's just
Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's true.
Yeah.
All of the characters are completely
self-serving.
but it's in a weird way. That's what makes the show work, because they're all so irredeemable and basically all scoundrels and ignorant and dumb. And but that, to me, like I like both shows, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
So I think that, with Always Sunny, it's like, well, how horrible are these current characters going to be in this episode? And they always try to one up it. But whereas Seinfeld, I actually found the characters to all be very likable and lovable. But I can see like not liking both shows for the same reasons. Like if you don't gel with the characters, it doesn't matter what they say or how funny it is, you're not going to like the show.
Totally.
Well, I had, and I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I did not like the series The Wire. And the reason that I didn't like it was not
That's
because
the first time I've ever heard that sentence.
Well, welcome, Chris. I did not like it. I watched it.
Why didn't you mention this years ago? No.
Well,
I wanted to wait for this exact moment.
You made Tom walk out.
I watched it from beginning to end. I learned a lot. I understood like, ooh, yeah, there's lots of, lots of stuff going on, when it comes to like, moving product. But I found zero people on the show.
Import-export business based on it.
Exactly. I'm also, I've got a whole Russian thing going on at the docks down in San Pedro. But no, I found zero characters likable. I hated them all. I wanted them all to go away.
It's weird. I could never finish The Wire because to me it was just so depressing. Like to me, it's just
that
like
too.
it's just there's a level of I don't use debasement, but you need a layer of detachment from some of that stuff in order to watch it. But like, I kind of know people when I was growing up that were like some of the characters, especially the younger characters in the Wire, and it's just like,
Is one of them in your bed right now?
No.
Not as far as you know.
Roger's like, what bed?
Yeah.
I take the fifth.
Yeah.
But I also want to take this one opportunity to say MoviePass Player Pass as a title.
Yes, done.
Yeah.
Done.
Great. Love it.
I like it.
Continue on. Continue.
So yeah, The Wire. I don't know, man. Again, good show. Didn't enjoy it.
When you say, do you even know why you didn't enjoy it? Because you described understanding all of the things that are likable about the show.
The
so
reason
it's not like you didn't get it.
No. I felt like watching The Wire was like homework.
I feel like we all should name a series that everyone liked but us.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I mean, I stand by it. I did not enjoy that show.
I think mine was Arrested Development.
Okay.
It was the one that everyone just loved, especially in the comedy community. They were saying, groundbreaking it was. And I was like, I don't like any of these characters. I don't find this that funny. And, it never gelled for me.
I can see that because it's so.
It's a little like It's Always Sunny in the respect of it is not likable characters, right? It's not an easy show to like. And if you don't like the characters' predicaments and you're not into the humor, if you don't think it's that funny, which it's a particular kind of humor,
right?
It just might not work.
It's kind of weird because
so Tom, what was your popular show that you didn't like?
Well, the very popular show that I don't like, I don't know that you guys are going to disagree with me on, though, is Big Bang Theory.
Oh, I don't disagree with you. I can't stand that show.
Unwatchable.
Yeah, see, so I don't feel like that's a real great example.
I don't see. This is the thing, though.
Because it's very popular. It's just, I think we're
really popular. With who? The only people I know are like, that's a horror.
I don't know, with the millions of people who have Nielsen boxes. That
where are those people in our peer group?
Are you saying they're fake?
I don't know anybody who likes The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. So I'll tell you one that I didn't like at all. To the point where I never watched it until I got married and my wife forced me to rewatch it, was Friends.
Oh, Friends is great.
I did not like Friends. I watched the first half of an episode when it premiered. I was like, this is dumb, and I turned it off. And then a girl I was dating a few years later tried to make me watch it, and I watched another half of an episode, and then we got distracted. So enough said.
Hey. I feel like Friends is one of those shows that ages really well. And I don't mean like ages in the sense of like the, style and stuff, because like it actually is like so 90s it hurts, but the cheesiness of it is easier to digest later on. I don't know. I was watching it on Netflix recently and I was like, this is a great show.
I always liked Friends for sure. It was one that went on. It was one of those shows that like went on and on and on. You're like, oh well, there's it goes on long enough that there's salary disputes. Then that the show's been on for a very long time.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's a successful show.
Yeah.
If David Silver thinks he could make more money directing than doing Friends.
So Tom hates Friends. Nobody's perfect.
I don't hate it anymore because my wife made me watch it. And I was like, okay, it's not as bad as I remember, but I definitely, like, if you'd asked me this question in 1999, it would have been Friends.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Do you not like that show? Yeah, well, fair enough.
I'm trying to think if there's another more modern example
of Friends.
No, of a show that everyone likes. Walking Dead.
I liked Walking Dead when it started. I liked it
a lot at the beginning, but I bailed on it. And there's still millions and millions of people watching it.
Yeah, but there's also millions less watching now, too.
Yeah,
it's definitely gone down in viewership. And one of the things, too, is I still watch it, but I don't like it as much as I used to. I think the novelty's kind of worn off, and also you're like, well, how many more things can we do? Like, is it all right? We're gonna meet some more bad humans. There's still zombies chasing us. Like, where's the end game? We might need to wrap this up in another season or so. But instead, they did a spinoff with just more of the same.
Which I liked The Walking Dead, and I also liked Fear the Walking Dead a lot for the first season.
Right.
And then subsequent seasons, I was like, it's all the same zombie thing, though. It's the same thing, where the zombie's like, I was here the whole time, and like now you have to run. Like I'm like, okay, got it. Like,
well, there's always it gets exhausting because you definitely want something different. You can't eat the same food every day, right? Because after a while you get tired of it, and there are only so many ways where you can play up a.
You can't be the same food every day for zombies, is what you're saying.
I mean, like, think of something like, oh, we've managed to communicate with these zombies, and we'll make a universe,
build a life together,
or something. Or I found an area that's zombie free. Let's all fly to Hawaii or something.
Right, and every episode is like, oh, I wonder how bleak it's going to be tonight.
Yeah. The weird thing is I'm still reading the comic. I was reading the comic before the show. And it's one of the reasons I loved the show was seeing those characters come to life.
Well,
and I'm still reading the comic.
It's still ongoing, isn't it? The comic hasn't stopped.
No. And it's still years. Well, I don't know years, but it's still ahead of the story on TV.
Right. It's not like Game of Thrones.
Right.
Like they won't catch up.
Which George R. R. Martin, by the way, is putting out a book about the history of Westeros prior to the books later this year, but he's not putting out the next book in A Song of Ice and Fire.
I think I bought one of those books. It was like a history of Westeros. It was a big giant coffee table book. Is there another one?
He's doing another one like that, except it's not a coffee table book. It's more of a this is a description of the history. So it's kind of the same thing again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we need two of those?
But this one doesn't have pictures.
Right. So he's pretty much saying you're never getting another book.
I mean, I don't know.
It's if it hasn't come out by now, and he keeps putting out everything but those books. So I don't know if we're gonna get another Song of Ice and Fire book.
I respect the author's decision to say I will put it out when I'm ready, right? I respect that. But I also respect my own impatience to be like, but I really do want to read it. Like,
yeah. Well, how many are there? As far as the books go, is there supposed to be two more?
Yeah.
There's two more.
Yeah, there's supposed to be two more, which the last book was half of the fourth book. So he got to the fourth book and he split the fourth book into two books. My guess is this next one is going to get split, which would then make it three more books.
Oh,
okay. The last one might get split.
But only one more TV season.
Yeah. Well, we're already ahead of the books on the TV season. So.
Oh, yeah, by far. And then, although HBO, I heard something like they have something like 4 spin-offs in development just in the Game of Thrones and world.
They are authorized by Martin. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're developing 4. They're not sure all 4 will make it to the screen or not.
No, they're probably developing 4 with the eye on like 1 or 2 actually going.
Makes sense.
Because, how many billion-dollar series can you have on the air at the same time?
Right. And I guess Martin is working with one of them directly, but not all 4 of them.
Right. Not holding my breath on those. But I've read all the books. I like the show, so I'm excited to get more content. But it seems like it's a long wait for any of it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I love that show. That's a show I do love. Love it.
All right. Any final words?
Thanks, everybody.
That's it. Have a good day, Internet.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow with Justin Robert Young.